hope this is working and we're up and running. I see we have a wrong description on here. Don't know why this happens this way. Details change. I'm down here. Camera. We just played with this. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Now, what do we got here? This is the UV bucket. We got that up and running. I just want basic. And we got the poly. I guess I should double check on here the make sure I have the right YouTube one, since this description doesn't have the right message for me. I'm just bringing up the Chris's video on there.
Hey.
Okay, Chris, we don't need to listen to you. We're just double checking our address here. Where's the videos here? I had everything set up. I did.
Have you ever wondered how?
Have you ever wondered anything? Oh. First, okay, processing. Oh, we're looking for your videos here, Chris. Videos. There we go. Make sure I got the right address here. There. I should have that up and running now. Okay, now that I've gone through all the basics there, and I've been muttering to myself. I'm Richard Murray. This is the Zidim channel, and we deal with 3D printing with the focus on model trains. And I've spent the last little while putting together a Maya printer, and first thing I have to do is a little bit of groveling to the wonderful folks at PO Poly that have a look over here, and where's take a look at that, the Moya collection, M-O-A-I. For the last age I've been spelling it M-O-I-A. I think I did that on almost all my videos and the Facebook postings, things like that. I will get this right. So I have it correct now. We are up and running, and I have it spelt right. So progress is being made. So the one thing I haven't done right now, which I should be doing, is creating a few more screens here. Now, first of all, since I've been playing around with systems, now my longtime friends will know that it's not unusual for me to not spell things correctly at all. It's been a curse since youth. Mute that. Good. And yes, text is flowing through. That's nice to see. So, what else we got going on here? Let's fix up Facebook here. What I want is to be able to just put one posting out there and have everything get hit and have it actually be accurate on the first try. I'm just letting folks know that it's out here. We are getting back into doing regular streaming, so I have to get back into doing all these things and having it all ready to go. One fellow said I need a monocle so I can check my spelling that way. He's right, I do. Got a couple of them out there, so that's the main thing. Now, what have we got? Happening here? Well, go together, build models, and with the 3D resin printers, there's multiple steps to go through. So let's see, let me pop over to the different camera here. When you do the print, the resin, you're not done. You still have post-processing to do. Now, the first thing I work on is the cleanup. And so you have one that's soapy water and another one here that is 99% ISP, isopropyl alcohol. So you do multiple rinse back and forth. For the soapy water, I'm actually going to be putting in, I have it here somewhere, got it after the flood, an ultrasound cleaner. And so it's just water with a drop of soap with it, and put in the ultrasound, and that should do quick work with most of the prints. And then you're swapping out of there with the isopropyl alcohol. And so when you're done, you got a part, you know, like this. This is just white resin here from PO Poly, and I have more resins on the way for different colors than that. I also have their tough resin, but I really don't care about the color for most of my work. Most of this stuff will be, here we can have a look up here if it'll focus. It's going to get painted, so the white works fine. And as you go through with different resins here, you have to work on different times for your prints, different settings, because, you know, are they translucent? How does that work? And I move that off nicely from the camera. So we'll maybe push this one screen I have over onto the side. There we go. So there. This is the largest part I've printed yet, and as you can see, I haven't pulled off the supports yet, so I have to do that, and then it's time for curing. Now it's had a little bit of curing on the outside, but not on the inside. So this actually is a part for a coffee grinder. So I'm going to just trim off these supports, and then we'll take a look at the UV bucket that I need for glasses. A lot of these supports, they do snap off very cleanly. And this is for someone. We were printing it on, the Prusa, but we've been having problems with extruding on the Prusa, so I told my daughter, here, just send me the part and I will try it in the Peel Poly. Now there is one problem with printing in white, and that is it can be very hard to see what's what on here. These supports, I used P9 on it, and to add the supports, it is a fantastic program, and I'll show it off a little bit more in a moment. I just got, did I get them all? No, one more in there. So I'm going to have to, looks like there's a blob on there. Oh no. Yeah. It looks like it's put down feet on it. And I do have a problem with the print, and I never noticed it before. I have to try it slightly different angle. Let's see if I can get this over right there. It's like a ripple all along here. Once again, with the white, it doesn't show up very well. But that is an issue that I never caught before. Once again, as I said, looking at this white material, it's just incredibly hard to look at. And if you can see the, I tossed them in here. Where's the support? The supports, we'll go back to the close-up camera. You got the tip of the support, and then it has its foot. What I have, and you can't really see it, is two of these on the inside in here. And what I'm guessing is they got stuck there during the cleaning process, not during the print. So now I got a feeling I'm going to be reprinting this one anyway, but I do want to clean it up as much as I can. But the challenge after that is how to cure this, because it's a large object. Oh, I just broke the whole thing, so I definitely will be reprinting this whole thing. I gotta figure out what's going on there and there. So this is a failed print, but we will still go ahead. I'm actually going to eventually take it over to the lady and do a test fit, make sure it fits right. But the problem I have is with it, it's easy to cure the outside, but you gotta get the UV on the inside. So what are we going to do for curing? To do the curing, once again, I'm following the lead of Chris over at Practical Printing. And let's see if I can get his site popped up here. The connection, the link is down below. And there we go. I'll find a better image of Chris before I pop you over to there. There. A little bit better anyway. So let's take a look at that. If you go over to Practical Printing, once again, the link is down below, and that's a very fuzzy shot. Let me go over here. We will let it play. Here's a bucket that he's put together, and he's putting UV. Let's skip ahead. There. So this is there we go. This is Chris at Practical Printing, and he did a video of building a UV bucket. So it is a string of ultraviolet LEDs and put into a nice shiny bucket. So what do we have here? I have a nice shiny bucket in which I've gone ahead and followed his video. There's no sense watching me to do it when Chris did an excellent video. Once again, the link should be down below. But there's a strand of ultraviolet LEDs around here. Chris did the research. These are at the correct wavelength for this resin. So resin is an important component of it. So we have a bucket. I did one thing different from Chris, and that here's the lid. And with the lid, I added a hook that I can actually hang things from, and it'll fit over the top. And it has foil tape on here to reflect as much as possible. Now, having used it, I'm going to make a change right away to this. And that is where it slides in, it gets crumpled up, you get pushed in here. So I am just going to enlarge the cut on the side here, and let's see, there we go. I'm going to have something blade fall right out. What I wanted to do is just slide this past the handles on the bucket. So I'm just straight cut right on here. Sort of learn by doing. And realize this would make life easier. The LEDs that Chris found, if you watch his video, he has posted the link on Amazon for these specific LEDs. Just one thing to note, you have to add a power supply. So when you purchase them, order a power supply at the same time, or at least take a look at the power requirements. Most of us have a collection of power supplies around the house, and I used to have, but when I moved out here, I didn't bring that. I got rid of it, so that was very, very tight on space. So I actually went back and ordered it right from the supplier. So what I've done here with my fancy lid, by the way, the foam for the lid, provided by P.O. Poly. It's part of the packaging. This can just slide right in here now, and we have our package. So we're up and running that way. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. So we're up and running that way. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live elsewhere. Let me get the right cable here. This is going to live But here's our light, nice and shiny in there. Now, as you can see, if I just put this inside, this doesn't get full exposure. So what I was thinking is if I dangle it in the middle, it will. So we'll go ahead and set that up with two very useful products, a paper clip, don't leave home without them, and a little bit of thread. Now this is the fun part for me because I have to actually be able to get my fingers to handle this. Don't need too much for it. As I said, I'm going to be reprinting this piece. I have some black on the way, so I think black will work better. But oh, that'll be enough. Stop that. There. I highly doubt I could thread a needle with my fingers right now. If I could, it would be a major challenge. Now, I've seen some gadgets out there to help people with tremors and that thread a needle. So there we go. I think I'll have to look into seeing if it's something that's printable. So I'll just double check that I didn't make this too long. I made it too long. Let me shorten this by a good chunk. There. There. Matched it up to that. And just use my ever so handy. There. That's much better. It still hangs down quite a ways in there. But that'll work. That'll work, I think. Where am I? Put this in. Not touching the bottom. So it is hanging there. There. They're set up. Plug it in. And I can let this go for about an hour. I think I'm going to make a little cord support for it. I'll just put that out of the way and let that cure. So the other thing I've been printing, and you've seen that this has been, of course, something that I've been striding for pretty much since I got the printer. The goal of having a 3D printer is making stuff for the trains. This is a Woodland Scenics cow. I'm going to bring this camera down. So here, let me take you away from motion sickness and line this up. I want to print things for the train. That's why I'm here. And I started out with an FDM printer. The Prusa does a great job, but doesn't quite match what I need for model trains. So started looking at these SLA printers, the Form 2s out there. I choked on the price. So that's where looking at a different format, that's when I saw the Pio Poly Moya, saw Angus, Maker Muse there. He did a pre-production review. piqued my interest, and then when it came online, saw a few other reviews and decided to bring this one in. So this is an oat scale Woodland Scenic cow, and here is the horse I printed. Goes with it. Now, part of my learning process is this has actually been in the curing bucket for a while, but still feels a little bit tacky, a little bit sticky to it. So I have to find out about why, and I have to learn that process. But one of the next steps I'm going to do, as a matter of fact, we might just do a little bit of the process today. So I wanted to print one of these in HO scale. I'm not going to use a different pose or anything. I'm just going to print him out there. The one thing I'm going to have to watch when I do that is, you can see, yes, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but he does have a butthole there. There is a reason for it, and that is with your printer, your SLA models. You want them to be hollow, so you're not filling that full of resin. And since they are hollow, you need a place for that resin to drain out. So that's what that's for. So this is becoming a furry model. I haven't had any of this hit the resin yet, but as soon as the model gets outside, it gets dog hairs on here. But the other issue you get, actually I should go back to the close-up first, with these models, these came from DAZ 3D, and within DAZ, this is a posable model of a horse, but it wasn't initially designed for 3D printing. Now they've started adding some 3D printing components to it, but when you're 3D modeling for a game or for video, what have you, you make the models as simple as possible, and one of the ways of doing that is by texture mapping. So rather than modeling along here a mane, or better yet, the example on the side here, you can see back in front of my finger here, the tail. You don't want to make the fur for that normally. You make it simple. So what they do is put a cone over top of that tail and attach to that cone a texture map, so it looks like a tail. But for the 3D model, all you're getting is a cone. So one of the things that has to be done, and I haven't gone through the learning curve yet, is turning that cone into something that actually looks like a tail, or once again with the mane, all it is a flat piece that shows up on the neck, and on that flat piece gets projected the texture map of something that looks like a mane. So once again, I have to deal with those. Now, what has occurred to me is with this particular model, that flat sheet is something that I should leave on, just as the cone. I should leave it on, and then I have to learn my skills in ZBrush and use that to make it more like a tail and a mane. So that work has to be done. But before I try those, since I already have this model ready to go, I'm going to reduce its size by 50%, and that will be effective enough, I think, for an HO model. So, hey Glenn. So that's the goal there. Anything? Oh, there's another thing I have over here. Once again, I'll save you from motion sickness. If you take a look at my field poly here, the one thing I don't have on here is any of the stickers that they provide. it needs to be fairly clean. But there is one sticker I'm going to add. I'm not going to put it on right now because I don't have my cleaner with me. Sorry, PO Poly. Yes, this is going to go elsewhere. It will stick up, but I'm not going to put it right on the unit, I don't think. Who knows, it might end up there. But there is one that's important to have on here. And I think it needs to be front and center for when you open the case. So it may go right up against the edge here. I'll center it. So it'll be somewhere about there. And of course you can't see that. There we go. It's the laser warning, because you want that known soon as a person. Actually, it shouldn't be centered. It should be right here. It should be showing up right when you open the door. So that is one sticker that will be going up on here later today. Safety first, folks. I was showing off the coffee pot. It's very unusual in that I have here, let's see, close up, some other parts. These are the shredder parts. Showed them off. These been cured. They feel pretty good. There's still a hint of tackiness to them. So it's something I have to learn to master. But see the two heights here? There. I screwed up on the first model. And, you know, as I mentioned before, a Fun King sticker, yes. I'll take one. Yeah, I'm making a sticker wall here. This is supposed to be a total of 10 millimeters high. This is bearing out of a paper shredder. This component here is 1 millimeter. And what happened with this one is I drew my two circles. I extruded the 1 millimeter. Then I went to the second circle and extruded to 10. What I did not realize was that 10 was coming above the 1 millimeter, the first layer within Fusion 360. I was expecting both of them to go from my base. And so that's what I have here. This one is just over 10 millimeters. And that is a calibration issue. I have to go through full calibration for the Moy. And that's coming up, one of my next projects here. But anyways, this one is the correct size. I printed some of these out on the original Prusa printer, FDM printer. I did a couple just quick sample, no fill. I fired it out. The one thing I did was I made the walls. They normally go in at 3 is the setting. I doubled that. So this is my brother wanted it, and he's out in Toronto, the other end of the continent. I made the walls extra thick so he could machine it down if he wanted to. So when he got this one, he was able to machine it to the right height. And even though that was just one, I said, you know, look, I just fired this off, very dirty print, very, you know, didn't worry about it too much. I just want you to check, make sure I was barking up the right alley, that I had the right hex size, and everything else. Well, he machined it down, he got it to the right height, took the millimeter off, and he put it in, and 2 months later, that little quick and dirty piece is still doing the job. So, because I was going to print these off in carbon fiber. Now I have the PO Poly Tough resin coming, and I'm going to fire off a few of these for them with the PO Poly Tough. after I do the calibration of the printer. And then I'll see if he can do that, because if he can't, if it works for him, then it turns out that the guy that services the equipment wants a stack too. So I'll be getting those out. So UV is curing away. One thing that keeps coming up is pricing. How are you going to do the pricing for this stuff? And so what I have here, the little kitchen scale. And material wise, you just have to go by weight and figure out the weight of the actual material provided the resin, and then find out how much your printer weighs. Try to get this up and running. Right. Yep, here we go. There. There's off. And this is a total of 5 grams. That's annoying. The actual units over on the side. Good thing we're on a close up, you didn't see me put this on. But the units used on the edge of that. Okay, I believe this is grams now. So five grams of material for 1 HO horse. Now I'll have to find out how much that's worth. 5 grams for the cow. And not sensitive enough to weigh these. Nope. Yeah, not sensitive enough. If I put 2 of them on there. There's there. Now I'm not getting a reading off of it. High quality product here. That's there. That's 5, 6, 7. So these are 2 grams. And I can't measure that weight close enough, so it needs a little bit to get going. It does register the difference. Yeah. So now I gotta figure out what 2 grams are. But we'll get to the math later on. So that's how I'm going to be determine at least cost of materials off of these. So what do we got here? Yeah, my bucket is working down at my feet here. Hopefully we're getting a cure on the system. Let's see. Already groveled to Moya, so I can put that away. And I should now go to, there we go. Here. V9 Scaling Creator is where I put in the supports. This is a fantastic program that I've been introduced to by the people in the forums within the for the Moya. The one thing I want to do before I do this is save this as a B9. Save this away, and then I can remove that. I have an empty print pad. I'm going to add my horse here. I'm going to, first of all, have my phone mute. I have to change the days that I stream because it's been noted that there we go. So we have this on here. Here's my horse. I have a slight angle on it. What I should do, I'm not going to do it for this, but really the second hole should become a belly button. It may have to come to that. Now its total height, I have 0. It is 52 millimeters for height on here on the back. I don't want to change this rotation much. We keep it going back here so you don't have any supports on the legs. So my scaling factor is locked here. I need to, I have to refollow it and everything else. This isn't going to work this way. We need to go into mesh mixer here. Let's bring our horse in. Here's our horse within mesh mixer. Now, I went through all this wonderful, there we go, edit. And how do I want to do that? I need to scale it first. Is that it? As you can see, I talked about the tail. This is how the tail model comes. And you can see around the neck, oh, under the print bed here, there is no mane. We just have the back structure on here. Now, if you've been riding, you know that can be kind of lumpy, but it is gets you get the vertebra that you can feel on here. Real skinny horse, you can see it. Let's see, we're going to rotate this guy. And we need to get him up on his feet. So let's see, I get the right measurements here. There he's standing. Okay, you guys got the right one. Now, this is where you have a problem with industry. I'd love to have, if they had one, is just drop it on the plinth bed, but there. We have a scaling issue here, in that if you look over at the size, the model that's come out of the DAS 3D is a grand total of 1 millimeter high. Now, where's my existing horse? And trying to do some measurements here. Highest point is the back, and he is 40, so this one I want to make 20 millimeters high. So before I can do anything else, I have to make them bigger. And we do this after the fact. No, okay. I didn't want to redo that. Edit, transform. First of all, 90 millimeters high. Put them on the base there. And uniform scaling. 20. And the colossal horse arrives. And I haven't done any analysis on this yet, or anything else. Hello. Why do I have point? Okay. Have to drop them down. Okay, I have a horse to work with now. I'm happy with that. Yeah, that going on here. So mesh mixer. Next thing we have to do is hollow this fellow. And since this is so small, an HO scale horse, I'm showing the wrong camera once again. That is close to what we're doing here. So it's a very small print, so hollowing may not be an issue on an HO scale. Now we do have items to look at here. That is the mouth. In the model, this is a rigged model in DAS 3D. I can open and close the mouth. And so that's why this hollows there. Let's just pulling out a big chunk. The legs are empty. The body is not. That's a pretty good area there. Now, That's a hole. Now, this hole is way too big. I don't think this is such a small model. I'm not going to hollow it out. By the time we get holes in here and everything else, it's going to be an issue. So let's do analysis. Let's do an inspection on it. I should make sure it's happy with it. Okay, so I'm going to export this guy, and this is our fixed fellow, and he is for HO scale. I'm ready to go. So we're done here. Now, first rule I've been taught is don't use Cura for supports, but I do want to save this project. There. Saving the project, that's done. Now I can start a new project. So Cura is ready to go. Cura is the other package I'm learning. The other one we have is this B9 Creator. B9 Creator is a fantastic tool for adding supports. So we have our HO scale horse. We'll bring him in. There he is on the print bed. As I said, a very small model, so once I get really into printing with these folks, I will be able to fill a print bed with these horses. Now the first thing you have to do, and one of the things that does not work well within B9 Creator, that is clunky that I find, is positioning the model. Now others I've seen actually do their positioning of the model before they bring it in to B9 Creator. I'll just have to see what I can do here. I need a rotation. Okay, don't need them on the side. There he is. Now, wherever possible, an object shouldn't be printed flat within the moire. But with the way the legs are, I'm not going to get much suction coming down here. And the reason suction comes in as a play, comes into play, there we go, wrong camera. I can't figure out these camera buttons one of these days. Have nice print on here. The vat has a rotating motion, and when you fire it up, actually I can show you this. I'll show you the real thing. I can do it with the vat. I have the technology. So once again, I'm going to move the camera before, and this is going to be a little bit jerky. I'm doing a handheld here. So here we're looking at the inside of the moire. Just widen the shot here. When you power it up, it will do a tilt action. So watch the vat. See how it tilts like that? That. And here, what I'll do, that little motion that you just saw there. We'll come in a little bit closer here. I'm trying not to vibrate too much. I'll power it up. There's the vat once again. Just checking the end stops there. And there's the vat doing its tilt. And that is to prevent suction. Because if you imagine, what do I have here that I can use? Of course. We're printing my hat. This is the print bed. The laser comes along and does the bottom. And if I were just to lift the hat, you just have solid suction here. It's just going to try to pull this away, and it can actually have enough suction that it will pull the print right off the print bed. So what it does is it releases by doing the tilt. They call it a peel. So you get the tilt, you go up a layer, and you're ready for the next print. It does the print, does the tilt, your motion, and you keep working your way up as you go through print. So my hat came in handy for something. So that is one of the tricks in SLA printing, is how that tilt gets handled. So if I were back on my horse here and wanting to put it through the tilt process, you don't want it flat, you want it at a slight angle. So I may add just a hint of an angle because the legs are in a good position, the neck's in a good position. So there is a slight angle on here, and this is where I've run into some problems with rotation and PO poly. That is, sometimes you get it right off the bed. So now the other thing is, with supports, you want to move it up. You don't want this directly in contact with the print bed normally. And the normal given is 5 millimeters high. Now with this little guy, I think that's going to be overkill. So I might make it more like 2.5. This is a small print, and it's going to be a learning curve for me. Where's that ring? Where'd my ring go? Oh, there it is. Here is a sample that they provide you with when you buy the printer. And this is a ring. And I have one without the supports on it around here somewhere. But there's your supports to hold it up, so your laser's not printing in the middle of the air. Now, of course, it prints upside down, so this is against the print bed. But in order to get this right, you do need, a little bit of room between your model and the print bed. So that's where we're going to be working on right now. Now, it is very straightforward to start putting in supports that are quite small. I mean, you can do it manually. If you take a look at this, let's make sure we're on the right setup. Here, once again, I'm in PO poly. That red line that I'm moving along just turned green. I'm waiting for things to catch up. So that's a support, the screen item, and the white line that you're seeing is where that kind of support's going to go. So what I can do is I can go add these, and there's my support, and it's a start, and we can start playing around with what this is doing. Or what I can do, and as I'm learning where to position things, I want low density on supports. And it's given some supports in here. I talked about the mouth and the chin. This is a place that's always been an issue. So what I can do is really drop that one down in size. Length, radius, 0.5. Not 2.5, 0.25. Thank you. Or I may just actually delete that. The angle is pretty good on here, so we can have that. So this is minimal supports on here. There's the curve to the tail. What I may want to do here is add another one here. We need a light one. Right at the tip of the tail here. Doesn't need to be at that area. One. Allow me to choose you. $13, $14. 14 is one I just entered accidentally. And 13 is one that's in the wrong spot because we don't need it at the tip there. We need it at the base. It's coming up here. So this, I'll actually see if this will work on me. Now the other thing to do is when you're scraping off the plate, you're hitting these bases. And it's a flat on, and you could, it becomes a challenge. And so there is a way to change this. This is as a straight cylinder. I want to make it a cone. Nope. There we go. Cone 75%. And here we go. And that little slope right there will make it easier to take these off the print bed. And of course, we're getting through this. I've just done this the hardest way possible. Because I could have just, okay, I got another one that's missing here. Easiest way to do that would have been to select them all on the bottom, make sure it's a cone, 75%. Done. So I can double check that these are light. Got things looked after. There's nothing underneath. I have two islands. When you have these, you're best to try to get them to connect as much as possible. These are overlapping, so we're good that way. Now when I did that, I think, yeah, it turned all that wonderful base work off. So I'm going to go back and select all these, look at the bottom again. It went back to cylinder, and I just want to get a little bit of a lip on there. And that'll allow me to take it off the print bed. So we are ready to go with that. So file, export, and this is HO with supports. Now, one thing I've noticed with the Moye is it hates these long names. So that's supported. Now, the other thing I want to do is make sure that I save this, make sure I'm in the right folder, and this is our but get rid of that, and it'll be a V9. So I've now saved this as a project. So I can come back and I can modify this. I don't have to go back, reposition the horse or anything else. So I've gone through Mesh Mixer to check the quality of the model. I've now come into B9 Creator, but in the supports. And so next is we open up Cura and we add the file here. And this will be my horses. And this is the HO support. And you can see how small a print it is. So the only thing I really need to do is translate this over. Don't want to scale, don't want to rotate, don't want to move this eye. Move it into the front. The peel force is strongest in the red area here. So you want to avoid it, but also at the same time you want your object to be lined up side to side, not front to back. So we have that on here. This is Cura for the Pio Poly. So this is the Moya edition of Cura. I don't have to worry about any of these settings. It's already set up to fine. I'm going to take it down to extra fine, and we will slice this up. And I'll save it to file. And we'll get to our horses again. And this is on here. It's saved. You can see I got a collection going on here. Just transferring this to an SD card. Now this is the HO. Where's the PMs here? Pio Polymer. I will copy that and put it in with our G code. Now the one thing I have noticed is the Moya doesn't like long names for some reason. So I'm just going to shorten the name before I do anything else with it. Have it. And once again, I'll move this before to give you motion sickness. Hopefully we have that. Here we are with the Pio Poly. Yep, that should hit the screen nicely. Power it up. It checks the end stop. We're ready to print here. I just select the folder I want, G code, There's my HO horse. Confirm print. Yes. And I just moved this printer to this location and it's rocking a little bit, so I have to check the feed on it. It should be okay during the print, but it will should be stabilized. So we'll let that run. And speaking of running, I have to run. I have a meeting I have to go attend. These meetings are why I'm going to have to change my stream time, but I'm not 100% certain of when I'm going to be moving it to. So I'll try again next Wednesday. I know I have another meeting right after the stream, so we will work on it. You know, maybe I'll get a little bit earlier on a Wednesday if that will be possible. I don't know yet. So we've got hanging in here the print for the coffee grinder. It is curing away. It should be in there for another half hour. Then I can test it out. We'll just actually, we'll cheat. We'll see what it's like now. Since I know this is a damaged print, I may have to redo it. Here it is. It still feels quite tacky. I'm going to have to do some research on that. But what I find interesting is the supplier for the coffee machine actually sent the model to the client with the instructions of, you know, if you get someone with a 3D printer, you can print it out. So yeah, it's coming along. So our bucket is doing its job. Our high-tech lid here is doing its job. So thank you to Chris for all the information you've done with your stream. It helped quite a bit. And I have started doing a actual start to finish project with the horse. You've seen some of it on the N scale layout. We have some bridge work to do. We're just waiting to find out the final details on what's going to happen with that bridge. We were sent an N-scale bridge. It was bought off of Amazon, I think. I wasn't involved with the purchase, but when it showed up, it was nicely crumpled. So I'll see what I can do there. We're going to check back with the supplier to see if they'll replace it. It should. But here's the finished ring I was looking for. It was sitting right there. So it's been cured and it feels much better. So there's another resin that was just talked about the other day, and it is a silicone resin, so it can stretch 2.5 times. It's flexible. It's like working with silicone. So the supplier asked for some people to test it in the world of the Moya printing. I'm going to let some people know more about these printers than I do those tests, but if it works, then I'm definitely going to get some, because I can think of some uses for that. So being able to print in silicone. So that wraps it up for today. I am on well, my website, zidim.com, the Facebook page, Zidim17, although you're better off going over to 3D printing for model trains. The link's down below for that one. Twitter, Zidim17. The other thing is will be part of our Friday night hangout. It's coming up from Friday, and if you head over to the Facebook page for it, and that's F3DPCH, and I think I have that already posted down below. We do know the host for this week. It's going to be Martin. He has Iceland, 3DP Iceland is his channel, and we will be on at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is something like 3 in the morning for him. So brave lad for deciding to go for an all-nighter with us. He's been joining in fairly regularly last few shows, and we are going to be talking about slicers. So that's Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, be safe out there, and I'll see you next time.